This is Mama Kitty. When I first discovered this feral cat, she was nursing a litter of kittens. I didn't see her again for several months, but I suppose she was always there like so many of the ghost cats that roam our neighborhoods in the night. I don't know if the little ones made it or not, but the next time I saw Mama Kitty, probably a year later, she was again nursing a fresh litter of kittens. This happened 4 times, and each time I saw the poor little girl, she was looking worse than the last. The 4th time was really bad, and I think without our help she would have not survived. One day I walked out of my shop, and there she was, standing about 5 feet in front of the door, looking straight at me and gave me a pitiful meow. She was dirty and emaciated. I knew that she was in trouble because she had always avoided Evelyn and I entirely. She backed up when I stepped out of the doorway and slowly turned and walked between the house and a small shed. I followed her to the back right corner of the yard. When she got to an old pile of lumber, tree, and garden trimmings, she stopped and half turned to look at me. It was apparent that she was trying to show me something. That's very weird for a feral cat. I went over and lifted a piece of plywood to discover her most recent litter and the reason that she had brought me to this spot. Under the plywood were 3 kittens, 2 white as snow and 1 white with black. After a little prodding by Evelyn, I removed the rubbish and built over that spot a shelter created out of some of the junk wood and other items to keep the weather out. This wasn't my idea. It was something Evelyn told me to do. In the long run, I'm really glad that she was so insistent about it. While Mama Kitty would not allow us to touch her, she would allow us to pick the little ones up and put them in the newly built elevated living space we had created. We fed them well, and after about a week or 2, Mama was looking a little healthier and the little ones were thriving. About a month and a half went by when, at the advice and help of our friends Linda and Skip, we captured all 4 cats and had them all neutered and spayed. They got all the vaccines necessary to give these feral cats a chance at a healthy life. After the surgery, Linda and Skip let them live in their spare bathroom for about 3 weeks to recover before bringing them home to be released in the same sheltered area that had become their home. When we opened the travel cage that held the male that we'd named Pounce and a female that we called Bandit, the 2 calmly stepped out of the cage and looked at us as if, okay, like, what's next? When the cage holding Mama Kitty and the female that we named Willow was opened, all we saw were 2 white streaks as they passed us, looking for someplace to hide. So as Pounce and Bandit, who stuck together like glue, became a distant part of the family, Mama and Willow were seen less and less until they stopped coming by, even for food. Over the next 4 years, we would see one or the other sleeping on one of our front patio chairs at night. Evelyn set food out for them when this happened, generally in the winter. I said Pounce and Bandit stuck together like glue. I wasn't kidding. Those 2, as you can tell from these photographs, went everywhere together. If you saw one of them, you could bet your boots that the other was close by. Meanwhile, as time went on, Pounce and Bandit went from being yard kitties to patio cats, and that got along pretty good with our dogs, Sophia, Bella, and Daisy. And our 23-year-old Cassie cat. We also have Poncho. He's our 39-year-old yellow-nape Amazon parrot. While the dogs and Cassie are afraid of Poncho, with good reason, I think they've all been bit by him at one point or another. Pounce and Bandit, on the other hand, would sit and gaze at that cage as if it held a very tasty green-feathered snack. We chose not to tempt fate there and never let Poncho out to play while those 2 were in the house. We let all of the 4-legged creatures sleep in our bed with us, and that eventually included Pounce and Bandit. I hope that gives you some idea how close we have become to these 2 feral cats, and them to us. I never cared much for cats, but these guys were now part of our family. We tried to make them indoor cats, but they would never accept being locked in the house as Cassie had. She was a very young stray cat that showed up at our back door one day and eventually accepted being a house cat. These 2 would never have that, and about 4 years after Mama Kitty guided me to her precious litter of kittens, Bandit was hit by a car about 30 feet from our front door. Evelyn and I had grown to love that little girl, and it broke our hearts, but we were devastated when about a week later, fate would take Pounce in the same manner. You would think that the story would end there, but actually we just start a new chapter. Less than a week after we lost Pounce, Evelyn spotted Mama Kitty in the area that we'd fenced off for the cats so that they wouldn't be accosted by our dogs. This is the same corner of the yard where we built a shelter for her and her kittens 4 years earlier. She hadn't been around for a better part of a year, and it was evident that she'd been in a few scrapes. One of them seems to have damaged her left eye. Evelyn put some food out for her, and the next morning it was gone. This became a nightly routine, but about after a week, Evelyn noticed that it seemed like more food was being eaten each night than one might imagine for one cat. In order to see just who our guest might be, we bought a trail camera, one that sees in the dark and is set off by motion. We have 2 trail cameras now, and I move them on occasion, and what we capture each night is almost like an ongoing soap opera as different animals show up each night. You never know who might surprise you. Some of the encounters caught on camera are a little tense. Evelyn remarked the other day that her blood pressure seems to go up after watching some of these episodes. They can be pretty interesting, so I thought that I would post them here. I've created a photo list of who's who of some of the nightly visitors. I will mention first that both Mama Kitty and Willow attend our little night buffet these days, and it's pretty cool. Willow looks fit and healthy. We named all of these guys, and so let me introduce you to the night crew at the Kat Kritter Kamp Kafe. Okay, well, you know a couple of these gals. This is Mama Kitty, and she started the whole shebang about 4 years ago, and she's back with us. And this is one of her kittens. This is Willow, and of course Willow's looking pretty healthy there, and it's unfortunate she's the only one left, but we're glad she's around. And cute cat. That's Happy the Awesome Possum. That's the name my wife gave that little critter because he happily eats about everything he can, and she says he's awesome. That's Mix. And Mix is white and got some black going on there, and also got some sort of spotted cat thing going on, leopard or something, I don't know. And that's Boots, and obviously we named that Boots because of the white on its feet, and it also has a little white spot on its chest. And this is kind of funny. We've only seen Boots once, but the thing about it is that the Boots and 2 other cats were actually showed up in our backyard, but 2 of the cats that only showed up once were because we rescued them, and they happened to have been neighbor cats that were lost. So our backyard there helps out a lot. That's Panther, and you can see why we call him Panther. Him or her, I'm not sure. Hope he does well on Halloween. And that's Rocky. Rocky the raccoon. Of course, that's not very original, of course, but that's what we came up with. And Rocky has only appeared twice, so you never know when you're going to see Rocky. So that's the crew as it is right now. It may change in the future. Well, you never know, nature being what it is. Tomorrow I'll be posting episode number 1. These videos will be posted unedited for now, and they run about an hour or so in some cases. But remember, these cameras, they only record if they're being set off by some sort of motion, and each time that motion sets off the camera to record, it's only for about 2 minutes at night and 1 minute during the day. So there's little downtime with nothing happening in the video. I hope that you find this as interesting as we do. If you do, please tell others and, of course, share with others. Be safe and God bless.